Good morning, kids. It's Saturday again. Time for Saturday mornings with Miss Karen. Today we're going to do something different again. I'm going to read you a story. So get your blanket and get all comfy. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this story before I read it. It's called The Giveaway. And this story was written by an Indian man, a Native American by the name of Ray Buckley. And he lived in Alaska. And he wrote several books. And this is kind of a Christmas story, but yet it's a message that we all need to learn every day. So sit back, enjoy, and listen carefully. Okay, let's start reading the story. I'll read a page and then I'll show you the picture. There was a grove of trees where the forest grew thick. The trees had stood there for as long as anyone could remember. Their roots intertwined so that nothing could affect one without affecting them all. They were known to the inhabitants of the forest, the four-leggeds and those who fly, as the Old Ones. In the middle of the Old Ones stood the oldest of them all, taller and broader than any others. If one stood beneath it, one could not see where its crown touched Father Sky, and the smaller trees grew around its roots in the safety of its vastness. It was called the Ancient One, for it had known the Creator longest of all. It was to this grove that the creatures of the forest and the plains, the four-legged and those who could fly, gathered for council. Each had sent one speaker, the oldest and the wisest of its kind. Snow fell thick on familiar paths, and each arrived in silence, waiting with the patience of those who have seen much. When the circle was complete, they stood listening to their hearts. They have lost their way, the whooping crane said. There is no pattern to their journey. Snow Goose nodded in agreement. They have lost their purpose, Deer Mouse said softly. They do not gather seeds. They don't know who they are. Tanka, the bull buffalo, dropped his head low. They take more than them back. They do not give away. They don't see long distance, Eagle began. They keep more than they eat, while some are hungry. They no longer know that they're connected. Back. They do not give away. They don't see long distance, Eagle began. They keep more than they eat, while some are hungry. They no longer know that they're connected. They don't know that they're beautiful, Fox said sadly, her white coat blending with the snow. They decorate themselves with stones and hide their spirits. They think that the power is that they can hold on to, Old Beaver pondered. They say this is mine and build lodges too large so that they themselves will appear big. They must make others small so that they look big, Bear's deep voice answered. In the end, they must destroy themselves or others. They have lost their names and they don't know who they are. Grandmother Turtle, who was the last to arrive, made her way slowly to the center of the council. She lifted her head so she could see all who gathered beneath the Old Ones. Her voice was barely audible. We must give away ourselves to them. We must speak to them in soft voices. We must remind them who they are. She paused, lowering her head into her shell. Then suddenly she lifted her head high as her neck would allow. I will give them my shell, she said with certainty. I will come with no protection, and they can use my shell to adorn themselves. Around the circle, the council was silent. The wind did not blow through the trees. Not a single branch on the Old Ones fluttered. The forest was still as Grandmother Turtle began her walk back to the empty spot in the circle. I will teach them the patterns of life, Whooping Crane said slowly. Snow Goose and I will remind them of the seasons. I will teach them to gather seeds so no one needs to be hungry, Deer Mouse began. I will give them what I have stored. Eagle searched the night sky and without lowering her head said, I will give them my feathers. Perhaps if I cannot fly, they will not feel small. Tanka, the bull buffalo, stood with his legs squarely on earth. I will give them my flesh to sustain them and my skin to warm them. I will give myself away. Each council member in turn rose to speak of the gift, that most costly portion of themselves that each would give away. When the circle was complete, a new voice was heard in the shadow. Of the Ancient One stood the Creator. Ho, children, the Creator began softly. You will give yourselves away, but they will not know that. They will say, see what I have taken, and think that they have made themselves larger. For in the moment the Creator paused. It is I who must give myself away. I must give away my protection and come vulnerable to their lodges. I must choose to become small so that they can choose to know me large. I must give away my name so that they can know their names. The Ancient One had stood silent. The sound of the voice has not been heard in many winters. Creator, how can this be? How can the great mystery become small? The Creator stood beneath the Ancient One. The shadow of the great tree became light, and the grove of the old ones became full of the presence of the Creator. A baby will be born. He will be the son of the great mystery. He will be born not where the two-leggeds are gathered, but among the four-legged and those who fly. He will bring light into confusion. He will bring hope into despair. He will bring love, and his name will be great. The Ancient One began to tremble, and those who fly left its old branches. The grove of the old ones moved into a quake. Creator, what can I, whose name speaks only of my age, give away to the great mystery become baby? What can I do for my grove in the forest? The Creator turned toward the Ancient One. The voice of the Creator was low. You will be his support. You will be his place of rest. You will hold his body. You will hold him up in the beginning and in the end. In our story today, the four-legged ones and the ones that could fly discovered that the two-legged ones had lost their sense of who they were. The birds and the animals offered their most precious gifts, even at the cost of their own lives, to restore humanity. In the end, it's the Creator who must choose to give away. The Creator gives to humankind the most precious gift of all. Isn't that kind of like what we need to do today? We need to give a little bit of ourselves. We need to be kind. We need to help others. We need to follow the rules to make sure that everybody is safe. Let us have our prayer. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together again. Help us to remember that you have given us opportunities to work together, to share together, and to help each other to get through even the roughest times. But we know in the end, everything is up to you. In Jesus' name, amen.